What's going on, everyone? Justin Tech here, and welcome to part 2 of Going Android for a Month. For today's episode, I'm going to explore the very real stigma that exists in the United States and perhaps some other areas around the world over Android.
There's a weird stigma that it's a cheaper phone.
I've gotten rejected more over my Android phone than I had over my height.
And I'll get into why this stigma may not exist elsewhere.
Because of apps like WhatsApp that has grown so popular here in the UK, people don't see that blue bubble anymore.
I'll go behind the technology of iMessage and why Apple is counting on this blue versus green divide.
I'm like, no, I gotta download an app because you got a new phone.
If you didn't see last week's episode, you gotta check it out. I explored my transition from iPhone to Android, showed off all of the cool features and customization on the phone, and even the workflow between my MacBook Pro and my new Android phone, the Galaxy Z Flip 5G. My main goal here is to introduce this stigma that definitely exists, hopefully make it so that you don't shame your friends, because I don't think it's cool. And overall, after watching the first and second episode, I want you to at least feel more comfortable considering getting an Android phone in the future. So I've got so much for you. Let's go. First things first, why did I get this phone? I got it because I was reviewing the Galaxy Buds Pro. What surprised me the most was how obsessed I was with this phone when I first got it. It was so exciting to learn a new operating system, and I was surprised by all of the innovative features and all of the customization. What shocked me the most with this switch to Android was the reaction of my friends as soon as I texted them. It's that green text that they receive as soon as they get texted from an Android phone. It is an instant indicator that this person doesn't belong. For those of you who don't know, iMessage works over the Apple Push Notification Service protocol, meaning any messages that you send between iOS devices, an iPad, an iPhone, or a Mac, those are getting sent over Apple's proprietary system. These are sent over Wi-Fi or cellular internet, and they're not getting sent over standard text messaging systems like SMS and MMS. These texting technologies are pretty archaic and have noticeable limitations, which I'll get into in just a bit. So I did some digging. Just before iMessage's release in 2011, iOS was falling in market share of the United States. As soon as it came out, creating this blue versus green divide, their OS began to become more popular. Can we fully attribute this shift to iMessage? Not necessarily, but I think it's interesting. So back to these green texts. The first dagger into my heart of the new Android soul I had was from my friend Julie. What was your gut reaction when you received that green text from me?
I mean, my gut reaction was what I messaged you.
She called my phone a peasant phone. And I was like, Julie, this phone is $1,500 brand new. I bought it used.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, but the thing is, what you said to me.
That's meme culture.
After her response and some others, I was frustrated. And I realized this frustration is something that probably so many non-iPhone users endure. And I was like, something needs to be done. So then I spoke to my friend Rob. He's had an Android phone ever since the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 that came out in 2013.
There's a weird stigma that it's a cheaper phone and it's like Androids are for people who can't afford iPhones. The phone I have now is the Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G, like the new big one. That's awesome. And so it just makes me laugh when they consider that a cheap phone. And I'm like, that's not really the case.
But of course, there are cheaper Android models available, and that may be a reason some people purchase them. But Apple also has more affordable phones too, like the iPhone SE and the 12 mini, so having an iPhone doesn't always mean expensive. I spoke with my friend Jonathan. He recently moved from Los Angeles to Israel.
All my friends in LA, everyone had an iPhone, and for most of my time in Los Angeles, I was the only person with a Samsung, and I was rocking the Samsung Galaxy 8. You know, it's the stigma against the Android. Did I really care? No. But then there's always, that one time where you talk to someone and there might be some interest. And then the worst words that you can hear is, this is going nowhere because you have green text bubbles. You don't just hear it once, you hear it like many, many times. And I'm 5'5". I've gotten rejected more over my Android phone than I had over my height.
Texts don't just turn green, but they lose functionality with iPhone users, like you can't do the tap reaction button. And this can cause iPhone users to full out leave Android users from their group chats.
I know people that are in group chats, and there's one person that has an Android. There is a separate group chat without that person, just because when they want to share certain things, it's easier to not have the Android person in the group chat.
And the issue of communicating between iPhone and Android goes even further than just features like tap reactions. It's because when you send text messages specifically with media, they are sent over the older MMS technology, which only carries about 600 kilobytes of data, which is nothing, so it highly compresses media. And when you're the only Android user in a group chat, you can't help but feel bad that all of the content is highly compressed. And I've even found myself apologizing, but I shouldn't have to. It's not my fault. It's Apple's fault, because they've created a system, iMessage, that is only compatible between iOS devices, because there are tons of other messaging apps that are cross-platform, like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Google Messenger, Instagram, Telegram. I can keep going, but iMessage, no. They don't want it to be either. Take a look at this video that Toby sent me over text message. It's highly compressed, looks terrible. He sent the same exact video over WhatsApp, and it looks perfect. It's exactly what it would look like if he was sending it between an iPhone and another iPhone over iMessage. WhatsApp seems to be one of the most commonly used messaging apps around the world. It came out in 2009 and has become a standard around the world. As of February of 2020, it was adopted by 2 billion users. Android accounts for 72% of the worldwide market share and 68% of Europe's. So it makes sense that WhatsApp would be adopted by many other countries. So iPhone users, the next time an Android user asks you to communicate over Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, don't get annoyed and don't be surprised, because you're the minority here.
WhatsApp is the exclusive messaging platform unless you're trying to do something shady, and then people use Telegram. And people attack me here if I ever use iMessage. They think that there's something logistically wrong with you, because on iMessage, whether it's an SMS or iMessage or whatever it is, the only organizations that use that are like spam.
Every single one of my colleagues have it. Almost every single one of my friends have WhatsApp. It's the platform that is the easiest, whether you're on Android or iPhone. And yeah, I think that's why WhatsApp is so popular. But when it comes to other parts of Europe, I actually asked my friends about this, and a couple of my friends are from Poland, for example, and weirdly enough, WhatsApp isn't as big over there.
I'm interested to hear what it's like where you live. Let me know in the comments. And if you want to create a market share chart with your location, I've left the link down in the description, and let me know what your findings are. How do you convince your iPhone friends to communicate with you not on iMessage?
As soon as they figure out that the videos and pictures that I'm sending through are really good quality, they want them. And so I'm like, that's the only one that it's going to come through is on WhatsApp.
When it comes to getting Americans to download apps like WhatsApp, oh my God. So I have my best friend in Los Angeles. His name's Jacob. He knows exactly who he is. And trying to get him to download WhatsApp so that I can talk to him if I'm international, when I was living in LA, or, now that I moved here, he does not want to download any apps. He's like, what, just to talk to you? I'm not going to download a whole app just to talk to you. So, wow. Only people who really have connections internationally, I've noticed, tend to download WhatsApp in the States. But most people who are more, limited to all of their connections are limited domestically, they don't really download WhatsApp. And to get them to do it, it's like they ask a lot of questions.
The iPhone market has changed here in the UK a little bit. Before, yes, it was that blue bubble life. But as the competitors have got better, like Samsung, I think here in the UK, we're not as iPhone or Android loyal. We're a bit more fluid because we do have applications like WhatsApp that has grown so popular here in the UK that people don't see that blue bubble anymore. Like it doesn't really matter.
If WhatsApp is so popular, then why do we have this divide in the United States?
I think because Apple is potentially a US company, I think maybe in the US, maybe they're a little bit more brand loyal to Apple. Whereas here in the UK, I don't think anyone really cares now whether you're on an iPhone or an Android.
Mike was right. Apple controls 60% of the market share in the United States. So if you live here, odds are your friends have iPhones. So you're gonna get an iPhone because it's just easier to communicate with each other, whether it's iMessage, FaceTime, or even tracking them with Find My Friends.
The only reason why I won't switch is because every single person that I text with and call with, I will have to make every single one of them download an app so that I can even just FaceTime with them. I mean, I have my phone so I can easily talk to people, right? So it's like, what's the easiest way for me to connect with all the people that I know? Is to have an iPhone. But if there was a way for Samsung to be able to do that to an Apple phone where it can talk better, or like even just the sending the pictures, I think that would be a whole wave of people going over to Samsung. But
and Android in general. It's not just Samsung. There are tons of companies.
I mean, Android. I get the two confused. I do have a question for you, actually. Is Apple software made in a way where other companies cannot possibly build software that can directly connect?
That is a great question, Julie. And the answer is, yeah, Apple doesn't want to be compatible with Android devices, because if they are, then more people would consider them. Apple thrives off of FOMO, fear of missing out. If you don't have an iPhone, you're missing out on iMessage, you're missing out on FaceTime, you're missing out on Find My Friends. It's a great ecosystem, don't get me wrong. iPhone ecosystem is fantastic and I highly recommend it and I love it myself. But I do think it's just the worst that Apple's not even trying to make it easier to communicate with your friends, especially if they're non-iPhone users. And will they ever change this? No. Why should they? It's not gonna help them. It's only gonna hurt. Google, on the other hand, has made almost all of their apps cross-compatible. Google is also working on a new texting standard to replace SMS and MMS, called RCS, or Rich Communication Services. It supports read receipts, typing indicators, and most importantly, high-quality attachments. But it doesn't include end-to-end encryption, which both iMessage and WhatsApp support. Google is currently working to include that. Apple has not said whether it intends to ever support RCS on iOS. Go figure.
I think the one thing that is holding people back from switching is that most people they know have an iPhone, and it's just the two devices can't communicate with each other well, and people don't want. I think that if all of a sudden everybody I knew had a Samsung, I would probably go out and get a new phone.
One of the reasons I switched to iPhone was because iMessage was a big deal for me. I wanted to communicate with my friends through iMessage because that's what they were using in the States. Now that I'm not looking for a phone to socially be a part of things, because WhatsApp and other messaging platforms lets me socially be a part of things despite what phone I have, I can actually look into the other features that make phones pretty special. So, I always wanted to explore the Google Pixel. It wasn't an option before. Now it can be. So the horizons just opened up a little bit.
After producing the first episode of this series, I showed how Android phones are just as capable, if not more capable, than iPhones. And what does this mean? It means don't shame your friends for having an Android phone. They should be able to decide what phone they have and what messaging system they use. And don't think that iMessage is the only way to communicate, because if you look at the world, there are many other ways to do it. And when you're creating group chats, maybe you should be a little more sensitive about what type of phone people have. If there's Android users, then maybe you use something like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. Now it's time for the $1 million question. Justin, are you going to keep your Android phone or are you going to switch back to iPhone, which you're paying $55 a month for? Not necessarily. I have been using this Android phone for 2 months now, and I see no reason to go back to my iPhone just yet, and here's why. First of all, I absolutely love this phone. I love the interface I've created. I love my widgets, and I love doing video chats and just scrolling. I also have the luxury of having an iPhone at my disposal near my desk for those moments where I want to take a quick video or photo and airdrop them to my computer. That's like the one thing that I miss the most. I do find myself picking up my iPhone a lot if I want to scroll through Instagram sometimes, or if I want to use the Clubhouse app, which is only available on the iPhone. So I will say there is something pulling me back to iPhone every once in a while just to even use apps that are on my Android phone. Will this change? It's very possible, because right now we are living through a pandemic where I'm not able to go on vacations and create these group chats with my friends. I'm not looking for my friends on Find My Friends because, spoiler alert, they are at home. Be sure to head over to my Instagram where I posted a reaction video to your comments on the Android versus iPhone debate, and let me know if you're interested in a YouTube live or an Instagram live where I can just take all of your questions about my experience. I think that could be really fun. And also, after seeing this episode and the first one, are you going to consider an Android phone, or are you going to consider switching back to an iPhone? Let me know. I am eager to hear your comments, and I want to start a discussion and maybe some cute arguments, but friendly arguments. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this on the channel, where they're investigative journalism type pieces where I interview and explore different topics, because I had a lot of fun with this. I actually majored in broadcast journalism in college, so I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. I've got videos coming every Thursday, tech reviews, a lot of smart home, so make sure you guys subscribe, click that bell for alerts, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I'm Justin, and I'll tech you later.